Most jewellery is designed around the gemstone. These were not. These gemstones were so large, so historically significant, and so individually famous that entire crowns and necklaces were built around the simple problem of how to hold them. Some of them are so big, they have their own names, their own biographies, and their own place in the Guinness World Records. Today, we are counting down 5 of the largest gemstones ever worn by queens. The diamonds, sapphires, and emeralds that are so massive, they stopped being accessories and became landmarks in their own right. Let's begin. We start with the 2 stones that, even after more than a century, remain the benchmark for what a large diamond actually means. On the 26th of January, 1905, at the Premier Mine near Pretoria in South Africa, then part of the British Empire's Transvaal colony, a superintendent discovered a rough diamond weighing 3,106 carats. It remains to this day the largest gem-quality rough diamond ever found. It was named the Cullinan diamond after Thomas Cullinan, the chairman of the mine. In 1907, the Transvaal government gifted the uncut stone to King Edward VII for his 66th birthday. A gesture intended to mend relations between Britain and South Africa after the Anglo-Boer War. The diamond was sent to Asher and Company in Amsterdam, where master cutter Joseph Asher began the cutting process in 1908. It took 8 months of work, 14-hour days, and famously, the first blow of the cleaving knife broke the knife itself. The result was 9 major stones, named Cullinan 1 through 9, plus 96 smaller brilliants. Cullinan 1, also known as the Great Star of Africa, weighs 530.2 carats and is cut with 74 facets. It remains the largest colourless cut diamond in the world. King Edward VII had it set into the sovereign's sceptre with cross, a piece originally made for the coronation of King Charles II in 1661, now transformed by the addition of this extraordinary stone. The sovereign's sceptre has been used at every coronation since 1661, and the Cullinan I has been part of it since 1910. Cullinan II, the second star of Africa, weighs 317.4 carats, a rectangular cushion-cut diamond of exceptional clarity. King George V had it set into the front band of the imperial state crown in 1910, directly below the Black Prince's ruby. The imperial state crown was originally created for Queen Victoria's coronation in 1838, remodelled for George VI's coronation in 1937, and worn by Queen Elizabeth II at her own coronation in 1953, and again at the end of the ceremony as she left Westminster Abbey. Both stones remain in the Tower of London today, on permanent display with the rest of the crown jewels. Together, they represent over 847 carats of diamond from a single rough stone, and they have sat at the literal centre of every British coronation for more than a century. Our second gemstone is older than the British monarchy's relationship with most of its crown jewels, and its journey involves a king fleeing the country, with it tucked among his belongings. The Stuart sapphire is a 104-carat oval cabochon sapphire, measuring roughly 4.9 centimetres in length, with a deep, rich blue colour. Its early history is uncertain, but it most likely belonged to King Charles II. What is documented is this: when King James II fled England during the Glorious Revolution of 1688, the sapphire was among the jewels he took with him to France. From James II, it passed to his son, James Francis Edward Stuart, known as the Old Pretender, and then to his own son, Henry Benedict Stuart, who became a cardinal of the Catholic Church and reportedly wore the sapphire set into his mitre. The stone eventually made its way back to Britain. King George III acquired it around 1810 through an Italian dealer, returning it to the royal collection after more than a century in exile. Queen Victoria was the first monarch to have the Stuart sapphire set into the imperial state crown for her coronation in 1838, positioned at the very front of the crown, directly beneath the Black Prince's ruby. It remained there for over 70 years. Then, in 1909, during the reign of King Edward VII, the sapphire was moved to the back of the crown to make room for the newly cut Cullinan II, which took its place at the front. The Stuart sapphire has occupied that position at the back of the imperial state crown ever since, including in the 1937 crown worn by Queen Elizabeth II. The stone has a drilled hole at one end, evidence that at some point in its history it was worn as a pendant. Today it sits quietly at the back of the crown, rarely seen by the public but present at every coronation for nearly 2 centuries. Our third entry is one of the most famous diamonds in the world, and one whose history is as politically significant as it is geologically extraordinary. The Koh-i-Noor Persian for Mountain of Light is believed to have originated from the Koh-i-Noor mine on the Krishna River in southern India, with records placing it in the possession of the Mughal Empire as early as 1628, set into the jewel-encrusted peacock throne of Emperor Shah Jahan. Over the following 2 centuries, it passed through Persian, Afghan, and Sikh rulers. In 1849, following the British annexation of the Punjab at the end of the Anglo-Sikh Wars, the Koh-i-Noor was surrendered to the East India Company under the terms of the peace treaty and presented to Queen Victoria. When it arrived in England in 1850, it weighed 186 old carats, but its flat-bottomed cut left it dull and lifeless. After its disappointing reception at the Great Exhibition of 1851, Prince Albert ordered it recut. In 1852, Garrard and Company, the crown jeweller, oversaw the recutting, which took the stone down to its current 105.6 carats, an oval, brilliant cut with 66 facets, including 8 additional star facets around the culette. Queen Victoria initially wore the recut diamond as a brooch. It was later set into the coronation crown of Queen Alexandra in 1902, then into the coronation crown of Queen Mary in 1911, and finally, in 1937, into a new crown made for Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, for the coronation of King George VI. That crown, with the Koh-i-Noor at its front, made its last public appearance resting on the Queen Mother's coffin at her funeral in 2002. By long tradition, the Koh-i-Noor has been set only in the crowns of queens and queen consorts, never worn by a reigning king. Ahead of the 2023 coronation of King Charles III, there was significant international discussion over whether Queen Camilla would wear the Queen Mother's crown, and with it, the Koh-i-Noor. The Indian government raised formal objections, citing the diamond's colonial history. Buckingham Palace announced that the Koh-i-Noor would not feature in the coronation. Camilla instead wore Queen Mary's crown, reset with the Cullinan 3, 4, and 5 diamonds from Queen Elizabeth II's personal collection. The Koh-i-Noor remains on display with the crown jewels at the Tower of London, a 105.6 carat diamond that has crowned 4 queens. Our fourth entry returns to the Cullinan family of diamonds, but this time to the 2 stones that ended up not in the crown jewels, but in the personal jewellery box of 2 different queens. Cullinan III is a pear-cut diamond weighing 94.4 carats. Cullinan IV is a cushion-cut diamond weighing 63.6 carats. Both were cut from the same 3,106 carat rough stone as Cullinan I and II by Asher and Company in 1908. In 1910, the South African government acquired Cullinan's 3, 4, 5, 7 and 9 and gifted them to Queen Mary to mark the inauguration of the Union of South Africa. Queen Mary, famously inventive with her jewellery, first had Cullinan III and the Fourth set into her coronation crown in 1911, and later used them as the centrepiece of the Delhi Durbar tiara, with Cullinan the Fourth mounted as the tiara's central element. Eventually, the two stones were mounted together as a brooch. That brooch was inherited by Queen Elizabeth II in 1953, who gave it an affectionate nickname that has stuck ever since: Granny's Chips. Despite the humble nickname, the brooch represents nearly 158 carats of internally flawless, colourless diamond two stones that individually would each be considered a major gem in any other collection on Earth. In 2023, for the coronation of King Charles III, Cullinan III, 4th and 5th were reset into Queen Mary's crown, the crown worn by Queen Camilla at the coronation. It marked the first time in modern history that a queen consort wore a crown reset with diamonds from a previous monarch's personal collection, rather than commissioning new stones. Two diamonds that began as a brooch nicknamed after a grandmother now is on a crown. This is the most famous gemstone in the entire British crown jewels, and it has a secret. It isn't a ruby at all. The Black Prince's ruby is a large, irregular cabochon red spinel weighing 170 carats, measuring approximately 4.3 centimetres long. It is believed to have been mined in the Badakhshan region of present-day Afghanistan and Tajikistan, historically the principal source of large spinel gems, traded for centuries along the Silk Road and mentioned by Marco Polo himself. According to a tradition dating from the 1760s, the stone was given in 1367 by King Pedro of Castile to Edward of Woodstock, Prince of Wales, known to history as the Black Prince, following the Castilian victory at the Battle of Nájera. The most dramatic chapter of its story comes nearly 50 years later. King Henry V is said to have worn the stone set into his helmet at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415, where it reportedly deflected a blow that could otherwise have killed him. The stone's documented history becomes firmer from the 16th century onward. King Henry VIII's inventory of 1521 lists a great balas ruby believed to be this very stone, set into the Tudor crown. During the Commonwealth period under Oliver Cromwell, the crown jewels were famously dismantled and sold off. The gold melted into coins, yet a substantial ruby was reacquired for the restored monarchy around 1660 to 61, generally believed to be the same spinel. It has remained in royal hands ever since. For Queen Victoria's coronation in 1838, jewellers Rundell and Bridge created an entirely new imperial state crown containing 3,093 gems with the Black Prince's ruby mounted in the cross pate at the very front. It has occupied that position ever since, directly above the Cullinan II diamond, which was added in 1909. It was not until 1783 that gemological science could even distinguish a spinel from a true ruby, meaning for over 4 centuries. English monarchs believed they were wearing one of the largest rubies on Earth. The crown and the spinel within it was worn by Queen Victoria at her coronation and by Queen Elizabeth II at hers in 1953, and again as she departed Westminster Abbey. The Black Prince's ruby remains on permanent display with the crown jewels at the Tower of London, a 170-carat great impostor that has sat at the heart of English royal regalia for nearly 5 centuries. Which of these 5 gemstones surprised you most? And is there a gemstone we missed that you think deserves a place on this list? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and the best suggestions become future videos. If you want more deep dives into the history, the makers, and the stories behind the world's most extraordinary royal jewels, hit subscribe right now and ring the notification bell. We are here every week. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.